Hi friends, welcome to my kitchen. I'm excited to do some things with you tonight. The things I'm going to do are crafts tonight, and it is evening. It's dark. You can see behind me that it's dark. I can hear, maybe you can't hear it, but my sump pump is running because it's raining outside. You might even see some lightning. That's okay, it's cool. It's a good night to do some crafts with you. We've been reading stories about insects, and our author has been Carle. So he's written these stories. That means he writes the words, tells the story. He also is the illustrator of these books. And we've learned at school an illustrator is the person who creates the pictures. You might use markers, you might use crayons, you might use pencils to draw your pictures. Carle is really unique in how he illustrates his books because he chooses to use paints, and he chooses to use tissue paper to make his books, the illustrations. So and a lot of his books are about animals. These books are about insects. So this one is called The Very Quiet Cricket. This book that he's written is called The Very Clumsy Click Beetle. You can see the paint strokes here. You can see where he's cut out pieces of paper that maybe he painted or he glued tissue to that paper. But all of his books are unique with his illustrations. And this one's called The Grouchy Ladybug. And so now I'm going to show you how to illustrate or make a picture of an insect using the techniques that Carle has used in his book. So I'm going to set these just right over here. First of all, the materials you're going to need. Now you won't have something like this, but you probably do have maybe watercolor paints at home. Look at Mrs. Ackman's watercolor paints. They're pretty fancy. These are my watercolor paints. So I'm going to cover up this part. One of the first things I did was I took some paper and I just used my brushes and I picked colors. Like this color is blue, so I picked the blue and I used water because it's watercolor paint, and I just put paint all over my paper. Okay, I'm going to close this up. I'm going to show you some other tools that I use that Carle uses. Tissue paper. Tissue paper. So this is the tissue paper. And here's the painted watercolor paper. All right, now here's what you need to know and do to make an insect. Do you hear that? Isn't that cool? It's a great night to be doing crafts in the kitchen. So I took a piece of white construction paper, big piece of white construction paper, and I used tissue. So I used my greens and I used scissors and I cut my tissue paper. And then you have a choice. You can either use whichever you have at home. And if you don't have this, then you might say to mom or dad, I really want to do this. When can I do this? And they'll say, I have to go to the store. We'll have to get some of that. And you'll say, okay, thank you. And you just be patient and wait, okay? But you'll either need glue like this, Elmer's glue, or you'll need a glue stick. I use my glue stick. I put my glue on, and then I stick my tissue on. You'll also need scissors. So I took my tissue paper, and let's see, and I cut out shapes. So I'm going to cut out of this red. I'm going to cut a couple wings out for my bug because my bug is going to have wings. So I'm going to cut out some wings. These are red. And then I'm going to take my glue, and instead of putting it on the tissue paper because it's gonna stick, so I'm not going to put it on the tissue paper. I want my wings to go kind of like this, and I think kind of like this. So I'm going to take my glue, and I'm going to put my glue on my paper like this. This is that purple kind of glue. A little dab will do, and I'm going to stick this down on here just like this, okay? Now, when we looked at the illustrations in his books, they were all different, weren't they? They were all different. And that's what's really unique about Carle. That's what's really special about art. When you do a project like this, yours won't look like mine. Mine won't look like Olivia's. Olivia's won't look like Emmett's, Andrews won't look like Keaton's. They'll all look different, and that's perfect. That's the way we want it, because artists all create, and they do things that are special, that are unique just to them. Okay, so I got 2 wings here. I think I want to put 2 more wings on. So I'm going to use my watercolor paper, and I'm going to use this blue, and I'm going to just cut it out, but you might want to do this. You might want to take a pen or a pencil and maybe draw on there where you want to cut, and then stay on the lines. Or maybe you ask Mom or Dad to help you with that. And I'm going to cut out a wing and a wing. Step that over here. Now this is different than tissue paper, since because this paper is thicker. I'm going to put my glue right on there. And I'm going to stick this right there. I might put it up close like that. And I'm going to put some glue on this one and put it here, right there. And I'm going to push down. And just like at school, you might have to count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to get it to stick. So this is what I did to make my insect. I have a marker here. I might give my insect an eye, a winking eye, and a mouth. And I might give antennas up on top. You know, and maybe I'll decide I want to use, I think I want to use the orange. Maybe I'll cut for the antennas two circles. They don't have to be perfect, and glue them right there. Makes me smile. And I'll just glue them right there. Then when we go back to our Eric Carle book and we look at that, we'll see how close this is to the illustrations and the technique that Eric Carle used in his books. What do you think? I kind of like my butterfly. Now, I'm noticing Mrs. Ackman has a head. Maybe I need a thorax and an abdomen. So maybe, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sneak in there some yellow, right kind of in the middle. I think I can do this. Yeah, do it just like that. That's gonna be its abdomen. When you do this at home, I don't know at your house, but at my house when I do art, it gets kind of messy. So pick a time that works for Mom and Dad for you to do this. Thanks for joining me. Hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.